math, and I'm about to share that breakdown with you right now. Now, before I do, I need to give credit where credit's due. This concept was introduced to me through a video, which was introduced to me by a member. And that video actually was created by another member. So shout out to you, you know who you are, and shout out to our community. All of our best ideas have always come from the community, and that's really the power of the mastermind. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the way that this works is you're going to have 2 accounts. Now, most of you are used to just setting up one account, every week or however often you do. You set up your prop firm account and you load up your Titan X or Titan AC, you download your leaderboard strategy. You're all familiar with that, right? But with this, you're actually going to set up a second account, and that's going to be a real account, which is an account with your own personal funds deposited on your own broker. And this real account is essentially going to hedge the trades from your prop firm account. And so you could say that your prop firm account is acting as the master account, and then your real account is like the slave account. And it's going to copy the trades exactly, except it's going to copy them in the opposite direction. So when the prop firm account takes a buy, the real account is going to sell. And when the prop firm account sells, the real account is going to buy. And then, of course, it's also going to scale the lot sizes such because the real account doesn't need to be the same size as the prop firm account. It's going to be much smaller. Typically, what's recommended is 3 times the cost of the challenge. So in this example here, we're going to assume $100,000 account challenge size. We're going to assume it costs us $500. And therefore, the real account size should be $1,500. All right. So first, we're going to talk about, we're going to go through a case study here. And we're going to first talk about, or not a case study, rather more just an example where I'll break down the math. But first is going to be the challenge phases, and then is the funded account. And so we'll start with phase 1 here. Now, obviously, you can either pass or fail phase 1. We'll go through each scenario. Let's say you fail phase 1. Well, if you fail phase 1, then you're going to be out $500. But the cool thing is you're not just going to be out that challenge fee. You're actually going to have recovered it on your real account. Because, again, remember, when the challenge fails, your real account makes money. And so it's going to recover the amount that you enter for your recovery amount. That's one of the settings on the hedging bot there. So it will recover that $500, and your new real account balance will be $1,500 plus $500, so $2,000. You have essentially recovered your challenge fee, and so you're back to break even, and you just simply withdraw and try again. Now, phase 1, let's say that it passes. Well, that's even better. You don't lose the challenge fee, but you do lose that $500 on your real account. So now your new real account balance is down to $1,000, but you get to move on to phase 2. Now, phase 2. This is kind of cool because you have an inverse risk to reward. What I mean by that is your max loss is 10% and your profit target is only 5%. And so the reason why that is important is because, as you can see here, let's say this is your stop loss, right? That represents 10%, and this is your take profit. That's only 5%. This is your prop firm account, right? So if the challenge passes, then you only lose that much on your personal account. But if it fails, then you actually gain double that amount on your personal account. Okay, so phase 2 fails. Well, yeah, you'll lose your $500 challenge fee, but you actually gain double that, so $1,000 on your real account. And so that's going to bring your real account balance up to $2,000, and you get to withdraw and try it again, just like you did up here. And you're essentially back to break even, and you recovered that loss from here, the $500 that you lost on your phase 1, and you've also recovered your challenge fee. And so you're back to break even, and you can just simply withdraw that $500 profit that you made to replace your $500 challenge fee and try again. The other possible results, which is even better, is to obviously pass phase 2. So you don't lose the challenge fee. You will lose $500 on your real account. And so your new real account balance is $500. And so we can essentially say, in summary, that it cost you $1,500 to get funded the $100,000, which really isn't a bad deal at all. Now, here's the cool part is that once you are funded, once you've passed this phase 2 and are funded, you can actually set up your hedging in such a way where whether you fail or pass, you make money. And so fail or pass, meaning whether or not you hit your funded account goal, you actually end up net profitable, even considering this cost here that it costs you to get funded your funded account. So let's go through that example right now. So here I'm assuming a funded account goal of $10,000. Now I know that's super aggressive, and there's a high chance that you actually lose the funded account before reaching that goal. So this is a really aggressive example. After this, we'll go to a much more conservative example, but just want to show you, the possibilities here, right? So for this first example, we'll assume a funded account goal of $10,000, so 10%, right? And in order to hedge against that high amount, you'll need to fund an additional $2,500 deposit into your real account. And so $2,500 plus the $500 you had left over here, that's $3,000 total. Let's say that you failed reaching that funded account goal, right? So then you're going to lose that challenge fee, that's minus $500, but you actually gain $3,000 on your real account. And so your new real account balance is $6,000. And that actually ends up being a net gain of $1,500 because it's your real account. So $6,000 minus this $2,500, or plus the 500 here. So, right. So it's minus that $3,000, right? And then that $3,000 minus this $1,500 here that it costs you to get funded the $100,000. And so that leaves you with a net gain of $1,500. So even though you lost your funded account, you still gained $1,500 thanks to the hedging, thanks to the gains on your real account. And you can simply pocket that $1,500, rinse and repeat the process again. The other option is to other result rather, is to actually hit that funded account goal, which is even better, excuse me, because you get your challenge fee back, you make your 10,000, so you get to keep 80% of that, so that's 8,000, right? You do lose the $3,000 on your real account, right? So that 2,500 plus 500 here, that's $3,000 that you did lose because you passed on your challenge, right? So that's 8,000 minus 3,000, that leaves you 5,000, minus the 1,500 that it cost you to get funded, so that brings you down to 3,500, but you get your $500 challenge fee back, so you gain a net $4,000, and the best part is you get to keep the funded account, so you get to keep making additional profits on that for as long as you can. So that's how you can actually, once you're funded, make profits either way. And that's again why I say, with Titan and our leaderboard strategies that are proven in both the backtest and the live market, that's why we have such an advantage with this strategy, because we have a higher chance of getting funded, and that's where the money is made, is once you're actually funded. And then of course, once you're funded, the goal is to hit that target and then continue to make profits after that. And so that's where it becomes even more important to have a system with data behind it and with a proven edge. All right, so let's look at a more conservative example here. Okay, let's say you only wanted to target half that, $5,000, and let's say you didn't want to put so much money into a real account. You could do something like this where you're targeting half the amount, 5%, and your real account deposit for the hedging against the funded account is only $1,500. Well, in that case, you still, whether you pass or fail, you still make money, $500 if you fail, $1,000 if you pass, and you get to keep the funded account. So that's, again, the best case scenario. But either way, you're still making money. Or you could be really conservative, and let's say you only target, 3.5%, $3,500, and let's say you don't even want to put up that much. You just want to put up 1,000. Well, you could do that, and if you fail, okay, you don't gain anything, but at least you don't lose anything if you fail, right? So it's still risk-free. But if you pass, then you still gain $300, and you get to keep the funded account and make profits on it as long as you can. So, there's a lot of different options here, and you can play with this. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. So super exciting. Now, when I did share this with a few people, there were some common questions that came up, which I want to address as well here. So the first most common question I would say was, is this bad for prop firms? Like, this is great, but how long is this really going to last? Aren't prop firms going to catch on? They might create some special rule or something to prevent people from doing this. And, in reality, this is not bad for prop firms. In fact, I would say the opposite. I would say that it's good for prop firms. And if you think about it, it's because prop firms are still getting their challenge fees, right? They're still getting their revenue. And so I think that this, if anything, it brings more people into the market for taking prop firm challenges. And so prop firms are going to be getting even more revenue. And not only that, but traders are going to be less concerned about their funded rates because they're hedging, their own risk against the prop firms. And so they're not so concerned about losing challenges. And so if anything, I think prop firms are going to make even more revenue because of that. So no, I would not say this is bad for prop firms. I would say it's actually good for prop firms in the prop firm industry, which is great for us as prop farmers. The other question that came up is, do you even need Titan? I mean, if this is risk-free, essentially, then why do you even need Titan? Why do you even need a strategy with an edge at all? I mean, why don't you just basically, put a blindfold on, enter trades, and whether you pass or fail, it doesn't matter because you can't lose. And although that's true, you do still want to trade with an edge because, again, profits aren't made during the challenge phase here. I think you'd get pretty sick and tired of wasting time setting up challenges and just having to, break even and start over. You want to get through this as quickly as you can, and you want to get funded, and you want to keep your funded account. That's where the most money is made. So you're going to make a lot more money a lot faster if you actually are trading a strategy with an edge, and all the hedging is doing is just off, is just hedging against your risk. And so, yeah, I would say it's definitely a huge advantage that we have as prop farmers, using Titan and using our leaderboard strategies that are, again, proven in the backtest and live market. The other question that came up is, could you hedge your prop firm accounts? So could you kind of do a variation of this where you're taking buys on one prop firm account and then you're taking sells on another? Within the same prop firm, you cannot do that. That's against every prop firm's rules. Across different prop firms, I'm not sure exactly. You definitely can't if it's the same broker. But even still, even if you could, you wouldn't want to, because you could end up in a situation where, both of them hit max daily loss and lose. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense to do it that way anyways. Let's see. How will the hedge bot work? So it's actually going to work really simply. Again, you're just going to load this hedging bot on this real account. So you need to open an additional real account, and then you load the hedge bot on there, and you're just simply going to enter the recover amount. And that's just the amount, how much you want to make if you fail the challenge, or lose if you pass the challenge. How much you want to make if you failed the challenge, or how much you're willing to lose if you pass the challenge. So it's really just that simple, and then it will automatically determine your lot sizes. Okay, the other question was, can we start now? We're going to have this hedge bot ready by early January. We'll have our prototype or beta version ready by January 2nd. So just right at the start of the new year. But we're going to need some time to just test it and make sure everything's working properly, of course, before releasing. So, if you're somebody who's just really anxious and wants to just get started with this right away, you absolutely can. I recommend going to FX Blue. They have a free trade copier that you can just download from their website. And as far as what broker to use, if you go here in the Discord, you click on useful links right here at the top, you can see there's a link for LQDFX. This is actually a broker that we use before prop firms, and we use for a long time, and they've always been good for us. Never really had any issues with them at all. And when I say we, I mean, myself, Adam, Tyler, and the rest of our community before we really got into prop firms. We were trading just exclusively on LQDFX pretty much. It was, us. The nice thing about them is they accept U.S. citizens as well as international clients. Now, I know a lot of U.S. citizens are going to say, well, I want to trade on a U.S. regulated broker, and that's fine, except it's not going to work with very many Titan strategies because you have to pay careful attention to first in, first out rules. You're not going to have the same amount of leverage. There's no hedging allowed. So with some Titan X strategies, that's going to be a problem as well. So just to avoid all of that, I would, you could just use a broker like this. And not only that, but we also have instructions on, like how to fund your account and everything. So, and our support's very familiar with it too, and can also help you. So, yeah, you could start there for sure. Let's see what else. Oh, and then the final question is, what's the risk with this, right? Because everything in trading is a trade-off, and it's almost always a double-edged sword. And whenever you have something, really, beneficial like this, and it is. I mean, the worst case scenario would be if the prop firm doesn't pay out. So let's say you get all the way here, you pass, you hit your funded account goal. So you're out, in this particular scenario, it costs you $1,500 to get funded, and then an additional $1,000 that you put up here. So you're out, $2,500, and the challenge fee. Actually, that includes it. So yeah, you're out $2,500, right? And if they don't pay you out, then that's like the equivalent to 5 challenges. So, that would be really not good. And why would they not pay you out? I mean, it would be if you're using a non-reputable broker, or sorry, not broker, but prop firm rather, or you get caught for copy trading, your account's not unique enough, or whatever other reason. So, I'd really recommend sticking with reputable prop firms like FTMO, Fivers, these have never given us any problems. They've been around for a long time. They have a reputation of paying out their traders. And then just be very careful, make sure that your strategies are unique. The entry and exit delays that we've added to Titan X and we'll soon be adding to Titan AC will help a lot with that as well. So that's the other side of the coin that you need to be careful of. But like I said, as long as you're using large, reputable broker or prop firms, then this could be a really, really awesome strategy to, like I say, take challenges risk free. And even if you fail the challenge, you don't lose any money, which is really, really cool. So hopefully this made sense. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to tag me in the farmers chat. I'm sure, I'll go ahead and share this as well so that you can play with these numbers. And I'm sure, going back to that power of the mastermind, I'm sure some of you will come up with variations of this that are even better. So that'll be really fun to discuss as well. But yeah, really looking forward to implementing this in 2024 and adding it to all the other improvements that we're making.